You guys, I have a super fun one for us today. You know, I usually try to keep it very healthy. We eat pretty clean around here, but you gotta have balance in life. You gotta have a couple treats and just make good treat choices. And you guys know my weakness is chocolate. So this is my go-to chocolate sauce. I keep it canned and in the pantry for when I need a little something sweet. I put this on top of my ice cream, chocolate milk, hot cocoa, mocha latte. Love this homemade chocolate sauce. It is sugary, yes, but no high fructose corn syrup, no artificial flavors, nothing unpronounceable. It is just 4 basic organic pantry staples, and it is to die for. It is the richest, most decadent chocolate sauce, and you can customize it with different flavors and just have so much fun with it. So let's make some. All we need are basic canning supplies, jars, lids, rings, and 4 basic pantry staples. We need cocoa powder, sugar, some salt, and optionally some vanilla. Now also, if you want to get fancy and you're doing this in the summertime, I often make a chocolate fruit syrup, which is also phenomenal. And I've got more details and directions for that with the recipe for this sauce on my blog, so I'll link that in the description if you want to get that for future reference. I get all of my ingredients and my canning jars from Azure Standard. If you guys have not checked them out yet, I will put a link in this description to Azure as well. And if you're a first-time customer, you can use the code PATIENCE15 at checkout to save 15%. There are 3 types of canning lids that I'm really loving lately: 4 jars lids, Superb lids, and Harvest Guard lids. So for all of my home canning that I do just for my family, I really like to use the reusable lids. It's a great value, great bang for your buck. So I really love those for our own canned foods. But for gifting, I love the single-use lids, and I either use 4 jars or Superb, and I'll put both of those in the description as well. I like to can this recipe in 2 different sizes. I like half pints for gifting and full pints for my own personal family use. So you can make either size, and the processing is basically going to be the exact same. All right, let's get started. So today I'm using this cacao. I always feel like I say that wrong. But you can use cocoa powder, you can use the alkalized, the Dutch process, you can use whatever your favorite version of this is. And I've also done this exact same thing with carob powder, so you've got options. We're gonna do 3 cups of our chocolate powder. Try not to get chocolate all the way up your elbows. And it already smells like chocolate sauce in here. So next thing we're gonna do is just a teaspoon of salt. Every single recipe needs just a teeny tiny bit of salt. It brings out all the flavors. If it's not there, you miss it. Now sugar. I always buy big bulk bags of sugar, store it in these buckets. It works great. I'm doing an organic white cane sugar. Now I like to mix this all together, all my dry ingredients, before I start adding any of the liquid. And that really helps the cocoa powder dissolve without any little lumpies a lot more easily. I don't know why I always think I can push the limits of this pan, but we'll see. I think I can make it fit in here. We're now gonna add slowly 6 cups of water. And again, adding it slowly just helps to melt everything and incorporate it nice so you don't end up with lumps in your sauce. Worst case scenario though, if you do end up with lumpy sauce, just put it in a blender or grab your immersion blender, give it a little blitz. No more lumpy sauce. Apparently this is just what I do for thrills. I like to push the boundaries of every dish. All right, now at this point, the only thing we haven't added is our vanilla, and that's on purpose. We try not to forget that, and we add that after we're done cooking. So we're just gonna move this over to the stove and cook it. About medium heat or even medium low, depending on your burner. We wanna just get this up to a nice little low simmer. We wanna dissolve the sugar totally. And then it's a little bit personal preference. It's whatever you want. If you cook it just a little bit, it's gonna be a thinner syrup. If you reduce it a bit, it'll be a thicker, more fudgy sauce. But always remember, whatever it looks like in the pan, when it cools, and especially after we can it and it cools, it's gonna be a bit thicker than whatever it is in the pan. So stop a little bit before your desired final texture. So at this point, it is getting kind of foamy on top. That's the chocolate kind of hydrating and blooming, and it smells incredible already. But now you just have to be patient, stir it, and let it simmer and thicken. Gorgeous. While this is cooking, I've got hot water in the water bath canner heating up, and I've got the tea kettle on because you always need extra boiling water when you're canning. Oh shoot. Ah, it's gonna overflow. Oh no. Okay, I lived too dangerously, and I should have probably washed my other pot, but that's okay. There's nothing not salvageable. Ah. You guys are right, I chronically overfill things. All right. We almost overflowed, but we are at a good little boil, so I'm gonna go ahead and check it to see if it's thick enough. So I just dip my spoon in without losing the whisk. And I do kind of like jam. I just run my finger through it, and if it holds like that, that's usually good enough for me, for my preferences. But if you want a thick, fudgy sauce, you're gonna wanna cook it a little bit past this point. But remember, it's gonna thicken up after we can it and it cools. And don't forget, you get to sample it. It's your reward. Okay. Now, before we forget, we're gonna go ahead and add our vanilla. And you can also play around with all kinds of other fun flavors that you could never find in store probably. Oh, maybe you can, but you can add orange extract, peppermint extract, lavender, whatever weird extracts and flavors float your boat. You can totally have fun here. 6. And I'm gonna recombine my overflow now that it's not on the stove and boiling. See, it fits perfectly reasonably now that it's not simmering. Gorgeous. And it does look watery right now. Remember, it is gonna thicken. It's gonna be cooked more in the canner, and then when it cools, it'll be even thicker. So we're just gonna fill our jars and leave about a 1-inch headspace. Now we're just gonna wipe rims, regular wet washcloth. You don't have to use vinegar or anything else. You just wanna make sure that there's no food on the rim, and this is also a great time to just check the rim to make sure there's no cracks or chips. It's just kind of a little quality control step, because if you have a crack in your rim or a chip or food goobers, your lids will not seal. And then once your rims are clean, we're gonna apply the flat part of our lid and the band and then pop them in the canner. Now I'm using two different kinds of lids today. I've got my trusty Harvest Guard lids. I really appreciate the reusable lids. They are an investment up front, but if you do a lot of home canning, they save you a lot of money long term. And these are a little bit different than using the standard metal single-use lids. So I'm gonna show you how to use these. But I also love 4Jars and Superb lids. I get all my Superb lids from Azure. They, ship for free that way, and I love them, but I'm currently out. 4Jars is also great, and I have links to all of those in the description if you're shopping for lids. Okay, so with my reusable lids, I have gaskets and lids separate, and I pop them in a little dish. And it's always good to have extra boiling water on hand when we're canning. Most lids, you don't have to do this, but for these ones, I do like to just pour a little boiling water on top of them, not necessarily to sterilize, because you don't have to sterilize when you're canning for 10 minutes or more, but because this softens the gasket, it makes it seal a lot more reliably. So for these 2-part lids, I just fish out a gasket, and I take my flat, apply the gasket, set it on my jar like that, get it kind of centered. And then I'll use one finger to hold it down in place, put my ring on, and this is gonna be actually just a little bit less than fingertip tight even, a little bit less. And that's it. And then it just goes exactly the same as every other canning jar, but at the end when we take it out, we will manually tighten this down to finish sealing. So a tiny bit different usage, but a great option to have in your canning supplies. Now we're just gonna pop these into the water bath canner for 20 minutes. And remember, if you have hot contents in your jar, you want your water to already be heated up. If you have cold contents in your jar, you want the water in your canner to start out cold as well. Now remember, there's one extra step with these reusable lids. We need to further tighten these bands down before we let them just sit and cool. And the only thing you would want to look for is if any of these lids were domed, you wouldn't want to touch them. That would indicate that the pressure had built up too much, which I've never ever had happen in water bath canning. I have had it happen to me one time in pressure canning, and it was just that I got the ring on too tight, so the air and the pressure wasn't able to vent, and so you wouldn't want to mess with it if the lid was domed. But in a regular instance, we're just going to tighten it down as tight as we can, and then set it to let it finish sealing. And then if you're using regular, metal single-use lids, you don't need to tighten the band further. You just leave them totally alone. Now that's it. We just leave these to cool down, ideally overnight. Let them cool, let the seals just really settle in. And then I always remove the bands. That is the current recommended canning practice. You remove the bands before storage, label them, put a date on them, stick them in the pantry. If there are any goobers, wipe them off. I don't always wash my jars when I can. I really only wash them if they are dirty. If I had siphoning, if there's leftover goobers on the outside somehow. But if they look really clean and good, I don't even bother. So I just remove the rings, pop them in the pantry, and I try to turn over my pantry food every year or two just for optimal freshness and a nutrition availability. Not that this is super duper high nutrient, but you're not gonna have a problem turning this over every year or two in your pantry anyway. I've got a jar from the pantry that I canned up a couple months ago, And we're gonna go ahead and crack this open, sample it, and just show off what the finished product actually looks like. Beautiful seal. Oh, glorious. Look how thick that is. So this is great anywhere you'd use chocolate syrup or sauce. This is a syrup. I didn't cook this one down super heavy. Chocolate milk. Most amazing chocolate milk. Mocha lattes on top of ice cream, which I make a phenomenal, very, as far as ice cream goes, healthy animal-based ice cream. If you haven't seen that recipe, check it out. I will link it. And this pairs exquisitely with my homemade ice cream. So let's go ahead and dish ourselves up a little treat. There's nothing better than a little chocolate ice cream treat. And this also makes the best and easiest chocolate milk or hot cocoa in like 2 seconds flat. A little bit of raw milk and then chocolate sauce to taste, more or less, however you like it. I love that so much. You can have your little sweet treat and you can do it without any of the crap that is in the store-bought stuff. The first ingredient in Hershey's is high fructose corn syrup, and then it has artificial flavors to boot, which is just so unnecessary when you can have the incredible flavor that comes from a good high quality cocoa or cacao powder, a little bit of vanilla, salt, sugar. What more could you want? Nothing. You could want nothing more. This is incredible. It's one of my favorite things to have in the pantry. It makes a gorgeous little gift if you need a last minute thing. And it is just one of those little luxuries to have stocked in the pantry, ready to go for when you want a little something sweet. So this is one of my very favorite recipes. I hope you will enjoy it as well. Don't forget, if you do make this recipe, to let me know how it goes for you in the comments, or if you have anything else to mention and share. I love to hear from you guys. And I always do my best to reply to each and every comment. Also, if you love food preservation in any form, don't forget to go ahead and subscribe to this channel and stay tuned, because I always share lots of wonderful and delicious recipes. If you found value in today's video, give it a thumbs up, and maybe share it with a friend who would also like to have some incredible homemade chocolate sauce in their pantry. That's all I've got for you guys today, but I'll see you guys next time.